looking for my other score. Okay, excellent. So we're going to get up and move. This could be fun, right? But we're going to try. We're going to see how this will work out for us. So I think what I'm going to do is put this in 2 spaces. I'm going to put everybody who's an S back over here by this dry erase board. You won't all fit. It won't be perfect. But I just want you to kind of congregate. All you need is yourself. All you need is yourself. You're ready. You're willing to participate. And I need all of my N's over here. Yes. Take your time, no rush.
Are you a mess?
We'll get where we need to be. And I am going to give you supplies, so don't forget about that.
Yeah. My S's. Alright, so my S's, I need one person to volunteer to take a marker to that board, and my N's the same for this one. Do you guys have a marker over there? Yes. You got a marker? Okay, marker up here. Somebody's going to write down stuff.
Okay.
Alright, we're good? We're ready? Excellent. Okay, I'm about to show you a picture, and what I would like you to do is in the 30 seconds that I'm showing you this picture, just think of as a group, or by yourselves, you're going to discuss it as a group, right? But by yourselves, I want you to take these 20 seconds to look at it. What do you get from it? What can you remember from it? What is the information you gather? And then after that, I'm going to put the picture away, and as a group, I want you to come up, just jot down everything that you can think of. You can get more than one marker working, right? Everything you can think of that you gathered from that picture, okay? I'm going to give you about a minute to do that. So here's the picture. Are we ready? And, okay. Go.
Okay. We have another marker.
All right, you've got a minute. As many markers as necessary.
Oh, Elizabeth, that was
We suspect it's the 1880s. It's very specific.
Okay.
together, it's family time, it's probably nighttime as well because there's lamps on and stuff. So that's probably painting, because it's really real. Looks like the clock says 7:15. Okay. There's family, they've got a bunch of kids, there's a fireplace, the lighting is dim. The dad has a beard. It looks
Who wrote that?
right there. There's a cat, there's candles on the mantle, there's greenery on the mantle, the baby's in mom's lap next to the dad, they're relaxed, there's lots of repeats. Yeah, it looks really traditional, and it looks like an ideal family.
Okay, okay. So after hearing both sides, can I have someone who feels comfortable sharing maybe what some of the differences are?
We don't know how to tell time.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, sir.
This side's markedly more calculated than that one. There's definitely more interpretation. Oh, it's traditional. It seems like a warm family evening. They seem like they're relaxed. This is an accurate description of exactly what was in that.
Yes. Okay, so you hit the nail. So while you're looking at this picture, notice that most of the time, our S types are really picking out the details. They're telling you how it is right now this second. There is that, this is the time, this is how many. There's no stockings on that fireplace, just so you know. The lamp is on the left. There, most of the time, if you had enough time and it was there, you'd say there are 4 kids, no, there are 5 kids, 6, dang it, 6 kids, okay? And there's 2 parents, and this is how this is working, blah, blah, not so much on the interpretation. Now, the ends, we tend to go more of the, I think it's probably Christmas time, and it's probably in the winter, because, yeah, there's a fire going, and this looks like an ideal family, because, you know, they're doing the thing, probably reading a story. Maybe it's a Christmas story, right? We're thinking big picture ideas. We're thinking, what does this mean in, like, the whole context of, I don't know, the world, right? So when we're talking about N versus S, we're talking about very detailed, what is it now, step by step, everything as it is, versus big picture. What does this mean? What does this mean for me? What does this mean for the people? Do the kids look like they're having a good time? They're probably good parents, right? We're interpreting on this side. And I'm going to go ahead and switch to the next slide. So, thanks.
Yeah.
You just have to switch to the
Do you want to talk about how often
Yes.
S and N is represented in?
And that's on this slide, I think.
Got it.
And then, do you
Oh,
know
sorry,
how to
here.
make that?
There we go.
Do you know how to slideshow?
Yes, I think I can do it. If not, I have tons of people.
Slideshow.
Oh, down at the bottom. Got it.
There you go. That'll work.
I obviously am an N.
And then you can click.
Okay. There we go.
Twice.
Got it.
Okay, there we go. So notice there we've got a statistic there. 72% of students are S, and a whole lot of faculty are N. And this has a lot to do with when you're thinking about a professorship and you want to go and you teach at a collegiate level, a lot of times you really are interested in that big picture. What does this have to mean? And so you see a lot of conflict between students and faculty when students are saying, I want a rubric, and I want to know what is due, when is it due, what exactly do you want? And the faculty is like, you should just understand the information, and I want to make sure that, like, you know how this pertains to this. Go, right? Big picture and everything. But my S's are like, but what exactly, right? There's a lot of conflict here, and that's something that we see, and it's really important to know just for that reason. And I think, what would be, if I could get an S person to answer this question, what would be one way that you could interact with someone who knows more big picture in order to relate to them to get what you want accomplished? Did I say that okay? Can I have an answer? Saba talks a lot.
I know, but I'm not understanding your question.
Okay.
So,
So in other
like
words,
rewarded me.
for S students, yeah, could you tell me exactly what you want? So my S students. Okay, let's say you're talking to me, I'm big picture. I'm like, this is kind of what I want, do it, right? How would you interact with me in a way that gets your purpose accomplished? So if you were,
I'll ask you a specific question so that I can guide you to the, to tell me what I need to hear.
good, good. Now, I know there's an inherent frustration sometimes when we're talking to people who don't understand the way we're asking the question, right? So it's very easy to say, yeah, but my professor makes no sense. They just say, do it, and I'm like, but how, right? Maybe this is one way I hope that moving forward, you can think, oh, because they're thinking I'm taking it from this one. What I need to do is ask them specific questions, so I don't even give them the option to tell me, do it, you know, or add question type of thing. Or for my ends too, real quick, if I could have you ever had an experience, can someone share an experience, maybe when you were working with someone who was wanting, this is when this is done, this is when this is done, this is the timing for that, and you weren't able to work in that relationship, or how that was difficult for you? Have you had that experience?
It's just kind of frustrating, like sometimes whenever you're like, okay, what do you want? And they're like, I want this and this and this and this, and I'm like, oh, okay, so why don't you do it?
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. Or like, I know I've worked with even coworkers sometimes who say, hey, I really need this to be done, and then they give me like exactly what they want me to do, and I'm like, I'm in your boat. I'm like, well then you do it. Like, okay, but what is your goal? Because as long as I get to the goal, we're right? But no. Yeah, Sarah.
For me, I took this test like a week ago, and I would have been on that side. I got S the other time. So like, I always like start with the big picture and then like break it down from there.
And that's a really good example of how this doesn't mean you do it every single time, and it doesn't mean that as a student you haven't developed a better way of handling situations. So I know that in certain contexts, you need specific rubric. You need from me exactly what things are being done. There's planning a conference like this is not, hey, yeah, overall we're just going to really have great training, right? No. There's going to be, this is what this time, this is what this time, and I have lists and everything, but my preference is still going to be an N. That's my go-to. So thank you. That's a great thing to learn. All right, we'll move forward to do that. So I think we can sit down.
I think so.
Go ahead.
Different.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Good question. They just use it.
All right, as you're sitting down, if I could have three brain goals, I need one of them to be a strong T and one of them to be a strong F. So let's start with that. I'm going to have a strong.
I'm a super strong team.
Super strong T.
That is not
F, get up here.
My super
Oh, this is great. Okay, and will you tell everyone your name?
I'm Daniel.
Daniel and Brady. This is Brady. Okay, Daniel and Brady. Now I need one brave volunteer. I don't care which one. Steph, come on up here. Okay, this is what I need you guys to do. Yep, go ahead. I'm going to send one of you out in a second. All right, so here's the deal, guys. I'm in HR, and you guys are the boss of all of these tutors here, right? Unfortunately, we do not have enough money to pay for all these tutors, and I have made the decision, Stephanie's going. Stephanie's out, all right? Now, I need you to fire her, okay? So first, if I could start with Ms. Bree. So Daniel, please leave the room. I
Okay.
don't want you to be influenced by her at all. I don't have to fire her in front of everyone. All right. Yeah. Bree, fire Steph. She's gone. I'm going to cry. Steph.
I think that you're really good sincere, but I don't know if we can have you anymore. It's not because they can't do it, it's just not the money, or something. I don't know.
You guys can't have it, but
I think that you're really great and very crucial to be able to say something.
you can. You can sure.
Well, I really need this job to pay for college and all that kind of stuff. What do you suppose I should do now to be, unemployed?
Well, maybe I'm not sure. I think it's a job.
Well, can you help me find one?
Yeah.
Maybe I can stay here for a while.
So I can be a job. Congrats.
Alright, Daniel, we'll see you guys. Okay, come on back. Alright, Daniel, it's your turn. Please fire Steph for me.
Okay. Stefan, I want to tell you that I personally appreciate everything you've done for the university. And I'm sure you've made a huge difference and impacted a lot of people's lives. Unfortunately, our budgets are cut this year. And although we cannot keep you on in this position, I know I and the university will support you in your future endeavors. But we can't have you on for this next year. Sorry.
How are you feeling right now? Please react.
I felt like both of them felt really fake when they said we really appreciate you.
I don't appreciate you at all. Well, assuming I'd be be her and knowing what you did would be a little more genuine, but, you know, I don't know what you did. I think we're a crappy tutor.
Okay, and any observations?
Yes.
Yeah?
Bree sounded like she was saying what she felt, and no offense, Daniel, this is not meant to be offensive, I'm also.
How dare you?
But you sounded like a public service announcement.
Yeah, okay. Other observations?
Bree offered her couch.
We offered her couch.
And it was like me and the university. So like it's not me, like it's not personal. It worked for the university, good for you. The university will support you.
It's true. Good point.
Yeah, so when Steph was asking back and asking for any favors, but she was ready to do anything as long as she wouldn't feel bad about it. She just kind of soften the blow as much as possible.
It's true. Now, if I might put you on the spot again, how did that feel for those of you who were firing? What is kind of your way of making that okay? You have to fire someone. How do you feel?
Well, I definitely don't enjoy it. I feel like, I don't know, someone that was just talking so that I felt like I had to do something to like not feel bad about it towards her. I don't know. I was trying to like deal with it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Well, we're in a professional environment. So that's part of the deal. But also being in her position, I know that, hopefully if I'd known her better, I would have known whether, she actually cared about this job or this was a job. And if she actually genuinely cared about it, I would do my best to, support her in doing something similar. Otherwise, I try to help her find a job, but that's the best that I can do in my position.
It's fair. So let me bring it back here. On the one side are feelers. Most of the time what they're going to do is they're going to try to make everyone feel comfortable. And it's really uncomfortable if someone does not feel comfy. So later at night you had to fire someone at work and your friend is talking to you about it. You're like, I had to fire someone, but I offered my couch and she's really cool. She's going to do fine. It's going to be great, right? Whereas for those of us more on the T side, we're like, yeah, this is the world. Okay, and this happens, and it's really, I don't know why you're upset, this happens, and it's not so much that we don't have feelings, because we do, but we can justify those, we can understand how this works out in the organization. This is kind of the way the world works, I'll be here for you. But notice how Daniel was also saying, well, if she really cared about it, then yeah, I feel bad. But if it was, yeah, she really wasn't a good tutor, then bye. Right? Like, there's no reason for you to be gone. This is so gone. But, and that's kind of the way. So the pitfalls that we come into here is that, the pitfalls that we come into with this is that a lot of times, those of us who are T come across as callous. We come across as though we don't care. And it's not that we don't care. We do. It's just that there's a different way that we approach things. And it's easier for us to say, well, because of this, then this. That's just logic. It's not personal, right? Whereas feelers, a lot of pitfalls that we have as feelers is that we seem a little bit too emotional sometimes. Like, I asked you to get a job done, and now you're feeling this way or that, and I just do it, right? And there's a lot of conflict between this T and F, especially in a working environment, just because of that, where you come in and you're having a bad day. If you're a feeler, bad days can really impact the way you're working that day, right? Everything's coming back to that. As a T, it's, yeah, I had a bad day, but now got to get this stuff done. I'm going to get this work done, right? So if I'm a T and I'm saying, I know you had a bad day, but you need to bring your A game. Like, come on, because that's what I would do. There's a real conflict there with the F who's like, you were so callous. I had a bad day. Leave me alone, right? So that's something to be wary of when you're looking forward.
All right, so now we're going to do another pair and share. We don't have to move, we're just going to be in our groups, and if we're uneven, just go behind you, okay? If we're in front with groups. So we're going to talk about our lifestyle. How is it that we go about organizing our day? So for just a second, think about how you're going to prepare for Monday. Right? What is it you're going to do in preparation to get up, get dressed, and out the door for classes, and maybe for some of you an action center, right? Or peer learning roles. So think about that for just a second. Now figure out who your partner's going to be, all right? Who your partner's going to be. And what I want you to do is share with that person how you're going to prepare for Monday. All right, I'll give each person 45 seconds to talk. All right, so change it up. For the day. For the day. All right. Make sure my phone's going to stay. That's all right, let's do that. That's all right, so let's talk about that. Make sure we know who you are.
Okay, I'm Sabrina, and we're talking about like how we plan.
Yeah, how does it, since you're the same, we can talk together if that's better for you. So how do you guys prepare for Monday?
Okay, well,
We know Sabrina, who's your partner?
Haley.
Haley, okay.
Well, I mean, pretty much we both we'll both go through our backpacks the night before and be like, okay, do I have all my books for the classes? Do I have all my assignments that are due tomorrow? Like, is it all in my backpack? And I put it all in one area, so like backpack, laptop.
Okay.
Separated from everything else, so it's in that corner.
Yeah,
And this is the night before?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are all laid out for the next day.
like 3 and 4 alarms. Like the first one's on my bed,
Okay.
and I have one on my phone, like on my desk. So I have to wake up and get it if I miss the first one.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have 2 alarms that are 5 minutes apart, and then one that's like the absolute latest.
You're not roommates, right? Okay, just checking. All right, okay.
And I have my assignment notebook like always in my backpack, and every assignment like through finals is already in it
Okay.
when it's due, and I go through and I highlight it when I get things done, and it's like joy of the day, like when I go and I cross something off.
Yeah. Yes.
I highlights, I cross off in pen.
Okay.
I highlighted things already.
I have a list on my phone for like everything I have to do that day, like okay.
So you have it on your phone too?
On my phone.
Okay, okay, just checking. All
I
right.
have some on my phone.
So how many of you can relate to the way in which they describe preparing for Monday? All right, keeping your hands up. How many of you have a high score J? All right, hello J's. Thank you both for sharing. Could I have some P's, maybe, if you willing to share? I see pointers, but I want to make sure people are willing. Yeah? Yeah? So for those of you maybe who don't prepare that way, we'll kind of spitball it. How do you prepare for Monday? If you don't pack your backpack up the night before and lay out your clothes, how is it you go about starting Monday? Yes?
Well, I wake up in the morning, I'll get my shower, get the Fruit Loops and the coffee.
Pour the Fruit Loops and coffee,
Yes.
people. Okay,
Those have to be hit.
okay.
And then I hope I have everything and then go.
We all agree with you, but I think there's a desire to leave, but some people are like, okay, I'm not alone, right? There's something about J's, right? And J's, I'm right there with you, right? I am a very strong J. I think sometimes it's not an intimidation, but we just make those who might be more on the P side a little bit nervous, as if we have some perfectionist with us. But please notice that Sabrina has a list that is both like listed out and that is on her phone, right? Because we're so nervous we're going to miss something, am I right?
Yeah.
Like we will wake up in the middle of the night, not that we all don't do this to a certain level, going, oh my gosh, and run to our backpacks and make sure it's in. No, you don't, right? Or you'll be thinking, I don't want to wear that outfit. I just heard before I fell asleep it's going to be snowing tomorrow. And we'll get up and we'll fix that. But I saw another hand over
Yeah,
here.
I was just gonna say, I kind of think about what I have to do the next day in my head. If I have a lot to do, I'll write it down, but only if I have a lot to do. And I'll pretty much just like give myself extra time in the morning to figure it out, like, and then go with it.
And you're very comfortable, but right in that
Yeah.
space. Doing the Fruit Loops, doing the coffee, thinking about, do I actually need to make a list?
Yeah.
Right, it's kind of what I'm hearing. And these are some great drafts, right, in regards to how we work. If I don't get to do this on the left, folks, I'm disheveled for this. Like, I am sincerely disheveled. This I can do in a crisis. I can't operate that way in a crisis. But if you have ever worked with me, right, you will know that not only did I show some of you earlier this morning that I have like a lesson plan for everything I do, but I also made 2 lists last night and then checked and made another one this morning.
She'll also
Right.
let me know when she's gonna get stuff done.
Yeah, I'm very clear about it. I will finish it by this time for you because it can just drive me so crazy that I'm either going to let you down or I just need to know that we're both on the same page. So I'm going to turn it back over to Elizabeth to kind of take us home.
And then, to be fair on this, this is something, again, that's a preference, and I am very much a P by preference. But there's things like, this is hilarious. But there are things like this job, for example, that require that J. But I am the one, I'm not going to lie to you, full disclosure, Johnnie-Margaret and I are sitting down Monday morning, and she's going to tell me how to do my reading assignments for the next couple weeks on time. Because I am the person that's like, yeah, I got time for that, and then it's like the hour before, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to do it, right? But I'm comfortable with that, that's my thing. So, to kind of wrap this up, why do we think this is important? This is actually a quote from Myers herself. It just says, we can't safely assume that other people's minds work on the same principles as our own. All too often, others with whom we come in contact with do not reason as we reason, or don't value as we value, or are not interested by what interests us. And it makes it easier if we go about without the naive sort of assumption that everybody does as I do, right? For me, it's totally okay if someone says last minute, now it's going to bug me. But if someone says last minute, hey, I really need this done, can you do it? And I'll be like, I'm annoyed just a bit. Yeah, okay, put it in, right? But like if I were Johnnie-Margaret and said, hey, last minute, I really need like 100 prints copied, right? Johnnie-Margaret would be like, oh, well, are you going to do it? Because that's not in my schedule, right? So there's things like that, but it's good to know that I'm not being inconsiderate of her because I'm aware of how she works and functions. And then lastly, I want you to take a look at this picture. And just kind of take note of what you've seen. Has anybody seen this picture before? There's a face in it. Can you find the face? For those of you who can't, there's the face. Oh. Now, I show this for you why. Look at the picture again. Can you ignore can you ignore the fact that there's a face?
Yes.
No.
It's there. It's like screaming at you, right? The purpose of this and any sort of tool when you're getting to know yourself is now that you know that it's there, you can't ignore it. So moving forward from today, I really hope that when you're going through some sort of an argument or some sort of a miscommunication, why are you mad at me? I don't understand. This was perfectly clear to me, right? This happens all the time. It isn't to say that, oh, it's because we have different MBTIs. But it is giving you another choice, another option, another way to move forward with that. So if I think that Steph and I are at this miscommunication and something I've done, I think maybe she's offended by it, there's something that I can, this is another tool in my bucket. Say, oh, maybe it's because I'm asking her to do something that this is not her right her name 3 times with her preferred hand thing. This is her other hand, and I just put her in an uncomfortable position that was comfortable for me. Alright, so that's why we're going through with this choice. And you guys all have that copy in front of you with the different types and all of their stuff. What's really interesting, if you ever want to, we're going to wrap this up now, but if you want to, you can just Google it and it'll show you some of the interactions between some of these. Like an EN is very different from an IN and things like that. So there's similarities across, but there's also some interactions that are really cool if you're interested in that kind of thing. And then also make sure that you write those evaluations that are in front of you, if I could wrap it up with that.
And I apologize, we just started around the sign-in sheet. So I'm thinking we start our next session maybe at 10 after.
Perfect.
And I'll go tell our presenters. So that'll give you time to do the eval. And I'm sorry, it's gonna have to move fast. I started it right here with the sign-in sheet.
As soon as you're done with your sign-in sheet and your eval, please put your eval on one of the front tables after lunch and head up to the next section of your choice. Thank you.